The spinning jenny was a machine for spinning wool and cotton invented during the Industrial Revolution. The machine was able to spin multiple threads at once, massively decreasing the amount of work necessary to produce fabrics. It was a huge technological leap within the textile industry and led to an immense effectivization of how we produce textiles. It started, or at least continued and sped up, the move of labor away from people and onto machines, and in many ways laid the foundation of our modern modes of production. The machine was met with massive protests. Among other things, people broke into the inventor's home to smash the machine to pieces. And 250 years later, I had this protest described to me by someone on Twitter as dumb. This is not a wholly unreasonable analysis of the events. I can kind of see where they were coming from. It's very easy to lump people in the past who were critical of technological innovations that ended up being massively successful into one group and see them all as backwards kooks. It brings to mind people thinking fast train rides would drive people mad, or people saying that the internet was a fad. Look at those dumb people in the past, how stupid they were. And it is true that the industrialization of textile production led to cheaper and faster production. Without it, the current trend of ultra-fast fashion would be impossible. Which would be bad? But looking from the perspective of textile workers in the 1700s, it made complete and total sense to be up in arms about the jenny. They believed that the machine posed a threat to their livelihood, and they were absolutely correct. There is no arguing that the shift towards further automation has led to lower status, lower wages, and worse working conditions for textile workers. There's a reason most remaining textile work has moved to low-wage countries. This is not to say the spinning jenny was bad. It was a fantastic innovation. Like with all automation, the idea of moving work from people to machines is a good one. In theory. Which brings us to the exciting field of AI. Machine learning is a type of artificial intelligence that involves training algorithms to learn from data and make predictions or decisions. Machine learning algorithms are used in a wide variety of applications, such as image and speech recognition, natural language processing, and predictive analytics. Like the spinning jenny, machine learning has the potential to revolutionize the way we work and live by making it possible to automate many tasks that were previously done by humans. However, it is also likely to lead to the displacement of many workers, as machines are able to do their jobs more efficiently and cheaply. From a leftist perspective, the parallels between the spinning jenny and machine learning are cause for concern. Both technologies have been developed and controlled by a small group of wealthy capitalists who have used them to extract surplus value from workers and increase their own profits. Both technologies have also had a disproportionate impact on the lives of workers and the disadvantaged, who have often been the first to lose their jobs and be left behind by the changes brought about by these technologies. The previous two paragraphs of this script were written by the AI ChatGPT, after being given the prompt, "Write about the parallels between the spinning jenny and machine learning and the style of a leftist video essay." It's a bit dry for my taste and has a somewhat high school social studies essay feel to it, but it's definitely not bad. In fact, I would probably characterize it as unsettlingly good. AI is scary, and I don't mean in a Skynet kind of way. I personally don't believe that there will be some AI uprising with machines becoming our new overlords. I do, however, believe that AI will be a tool which gives more power to our current ones. To, again, quote ChatGPT, "Overall, the spinning jenny and machine learning may seem like very different technologies, but from a leftist perspective, they have a number of interesting parallels. Both technologies represent new means of production that are owned and controlled by a small group of capitalists, and both are used to extract surplus value from the labor of workers. As a result, both technologies contribute to the concentration of wealth and power in the hands of capitalists, at the expense of workers." Automation is, in itself, a good thing, right? Like, having to do less work is good. I mean, I don't go around mad at my dishwasher for stealing the job of washing dishes from me. In fact, that's what I love about the little guy. But if my income was based on doing dishes, I might feel differently. We live in a shit economic system. Like, it's bad. Capitalism sucks. It sucks in many ways, but it mainly sucks at the things that an economic system should be good at. Allocating resources. The whole reason we have an economic system at all is to facilitate the transfer of goods and services to where they are needed. And despite what you might have heard, capitalism sucks at it. Instead of distributing resources where they are needed, it keeps piling more and more of the resources in the hands of fewer and fewer insanely wealthy people. Which is very inefficient. And as our friend ChatGPT told us, automation is likely to exacerbate the issue. In fact, it already has. It's not hard to imagine how an economic system that didn't suck would implement automation. As the task is automated, the total amount of labor needed goes down. As such, we can spread the remaining labor over a larger amount of people, resulting in less work for everyone. Less effort, same result, which should be the entire point of automation, right? But in our system, the shit one, this is not how things work. Automation does not bring freedom from work, it brings unemployment. Capitalism has no real way of dealing with automation because it has no way of redistributing wealth that does not involve work. If you don't work, you starve. And with automation, even though the same amount of work is being performed, it is not being performed by the worker, and so no part of the fruit of that labor is given to them. Instead, it goes where most fruit of most labor goes, to the capitalist, the owner of the machine. And so instead of a world where automation lets us work less, it just moves more money from the working to the owning class. It's honestly wild that we live in a world where there not being enough work that needs doing is a problem. That capitalism sucks at dealing with automation is not new knowledge. In fact, Marx had a few spicy things to say on the topic all the way back in the 1860s. He believed capitalism was so bad at it, in fact, that increased automation would result in its complete breakdown, ushering in a new era of socialism. I'm not one to say that Marx was wrong, but he was. Or at least he has been so far. Automation has not led to the breakdown of capitalism. Capitalism is still right here. Marx wildly underestimated its power and adaptability. You could say he was somewhat of an optimist. But I wonder if there isn't still time for history to prove him right. Because we might very well be headed towards a new wave of mass automation, one more far-reaching than anything we've ever seen before. And capitalism still has no real way of dealing with it. What will happen then, when there are no jobs and all the wealth has accumulated at the top? A common refrain when discussing AI is that we will at some point hit a wall. Come across something it just can't do because it requires some deep, magical core humanness, something ineffable that only the human mind and or soul can provide. This is wishful thinking. We desperately need to cling to the idea that there is something preventing machines from coming in and making us redundant. But there isn't. For a long time, white-collar workers were relatively safe from having their jobs automated, and the general idea was that as menial tasks were able to be automated, people could move to more and more complex tasks. But that belief is quickly becoming less and less realistic. In fact, it might counterintuitively be blue-collar jobs that are currently the ones safest from being automated, as the human body is becoming more expensive to replicate than the human mind. There is a reason sweatshops are still full of people. For the last half-century, we have been moving more and more industry abroad to where wages are still low enough to compete with full automation. And as this new era of automation takes root, we're already seeing the same thing happen within the digital realm. Low-status IT work is either automated or moved abroad. And as it is, I am having a hard time imagining what work will replace it. What work can't be done by a machine? Yours? Mine? I like to write. It has always been the thing that I am, quote-unquote, good at. For a long time, my plan was to get into journalism, until I realized I sucked at all of the parts of journalism that wasn't writing, and that I would like a job with paid vacation. So I got into tech, kind of by accident, and now work as a DevOps engineer, which is fancy speak for I do boop 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 computer stuff. I bore you with the details of my professional life because both of these industries have for a long time been pretty safe from the dangers of automation. But as AIs learn to write and code as well as or better than their human counterparts, I can't help but wonder what lies in the future for me, my colleagues, and my old classmates who ended up actually becoming journalists. It's a weird feeling seeing the things you are good at, your talents and marketable skills, start to be effortlessly replicated by machines. A lot of what I do for work will probably be possible to automate within my working life. I don't fear for my job, not yet. My work already involves a lot of automation, so it's not hard to imagine a future where I just move one step up in levels of abstraction and start using AI to automate the automation. Instead of writing code, I become a glorified computer shepherd, herding a flock of AIs as they do what used to be my job. But if those AIs can do the work of even 2 people, that means half as many employees. And at some point, that is going to affect job stability. Journalism has been having a shit time for a while now, struggling to retain their income as they move on to new platforms. News organizations are expected to do the same work with fewer and fewer people, so it's no wonder that they are looking to offload some of that work onto machines. Tech, on the other hand, has been booming up until very recently, not being able to find people to employ fast enough. Now that the industry has had a bust, it is sure to start looking for ways to cut down on that most expensive of expenditures: employees. And if there's one thing the tech industry believes more than anything, it's that tech will be the solution to everything. I wonder how many people excitedly developing smarter and better AIs are considering that they risk making themselves obsolete. There are still holdouts, of course, industries where automation feels further away. A lot of human-facing jobs, healthcare workers, teachers, jobs that can't be moved abroad and are still complicated for machines to perform. But as hospitals and schools are run ever more as businesses, it's hard to imagine that the hedge funds and venture capitalists running them won't take the first opportunity available to try and replace people with technology. A workforce who take no sick days, need no rest, and won't ever go on strike if mistreated. I'm not optimistic about the future, for a lot of reasons. The planet is burning and the oceans are boiling. Fascism. A lot of things are bad. And the way things are going, most change is bound to be for the worse. A future without work could be paradise. But under our current economic system, I can't imagine it as anything other than hell. I don't really have any credits, but I do want to do kind of a postscript, so here are some random images that I generated that didn't get used in the video. So this is the first, and maybe last video I put on this channel, aside from some old junk that I removed. I don't really have a plan for this channel, I just had to make this video to get it out of my head. I usually do videos about video games, which you can find a link to in the description. For this video I tried using as many AI applications as I could, generating AI images, using AI upscaling for low-res videos, and so on and so forth. I even tried having ChatGPT write music for Sonic Pi, but it all ended up sounding like absolute dog shit. I also considered using an AI voice to read the script, but it felt a bit weird to not have my voice if I do end up doing more videos on this channel. Finally, I want to say some words about AI and art. I didn't really put anything about AI art in the main video because I honestly felt quite defeated by the idea of it when I was writing the script. Like, the idea of AI art being quote-unquote just as good as human art made me feel kind of like shit. But then I realized that doesn't matter. Yes, AI art will replace all commercial art. There is nothing humans can do that AI can't do cheaper, including innovate. Sorry artists, you will be replaced along with all other workers. But you know what? That's okay. Or, you know, it's bad, but not worse than any other jobs being replaced. The point of art is not monetary gain, and if capitalism crumbles, we might see a society where monetary gain is not the main value. In that case, the only reason to produce art is for the enjoyment of it, and there is no joy in cranking out an endless stream of AI-generated masterworks. Not to say that AI can't be used as a tool for creating interesting art, but that's another discussion for another day. Okay, that was everything I had to say. Thanks for watching, and smash that